I was talking to a brother yesterday, and he was telling me about this analogy that he used with his kids to explain Saul of Tarsus. And I told him, this is the most amazing analogy I have ever heard in my life. I have to tell everybody about this. But he basically said, he had gone to a church and was kicked out of the church because, he speaks the truth about Saul. And his kids had made friends at the church. And so they wanted to continue to go. And so they were like, Dad, why can't we go? Why can't we go? And he said he called his kids over to him and he said, listen, there's a guy riding around here in a red Audi. And he's pulling over alongside kids and calling them over to his car. And he's offering them free stuff to get them to go with him. And when the kids hesitate to get in the car, the man tells them that their parents sent him to pick them up. And some of them run away, but some of them get in the car. So he said to his kids, what would you do in that situation? Would you go with the man? And they were like, Dad, no, of course not. We wouldn't go. And he was like, are you sure? And they were like, Dad, we're not stupid. And he said, really, you wouldn't go? And they were like, no, Dad. And then he asked him, what if the man tells you that I sent him? Would you believe him? And they said, no, Dad, what are you talking about? No. And he asked them, what do you think about the kids who get in the car? And he said, they're stupid. And he said, okay, let me show you something. So he pulled out his Bible and he takes his kids to the book of Matthew, where it says, for many will come in my name saying, I am the Christ. And that means anointed, and will deceive many. Therefore, if they say to you, look, he is in the desert, do not go out. Or look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. And then he took his kids over to Saul's account on the road to Damascus. And he showed his kids where Saul said he saw Jesus in the desert. And he asked his kids, what do you think about that? Would you follow that man? And they were like, no, Dad. I mean, Jesus just said he wouldn't be in the desert. And he said, are you sure about that? And they said, Dad, no, it says it right there. And then he asked them, what do you think about the people who do follow him? And they said, well, they're stupid. And he said, no, they're not stupid. They're blind. They're blind. And he turned around and he looked at the church and he pointed to it. And he said, the man in that church follows the man in the red Audi that is promising people's children free stuff, trying to get them to go with him. He said, how do you think those parents feel when their kids go with him? He said, do you think they cry? And they said, yeah, they probably do. He said, why do you think they cry? And they said, because he took their kids. And he said, exactly. Because the parents warned the kids, don't get in the car with a man in a red Audi who tells you that I sent them, who's giving away free stuff and telling you that I sent them. And Jesus feels the same way. Jesus told you there's going to be a wolf in sheep's clothing who says they're anointed and they're coming to lead my people astray. He said the person is going to say they saw me in the desert. And even though Jesus gave very descriptive warnings, his sheep still turn away from him and follow the man in the red Audi.